Mic check, mic check. All right. All right. What's up, Blueprint family? Thank you all for joining us on this Marriage Fit Friday, where we give out um, advice about marriage, relationships mainly, and that focuses on Friday. So helping people to become more equipped, better prepared for marriage, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. Sorry for our tardiness. We have a teething baby who is just not feeling much of anything right now. So that is why we are late. All the parents in the house know what that's like. So thank you all for your understanding and still joining us anyway, because I think this is going to be a great show. I wonder if it's a delay. Is everything good? I'm trying to check on
I
because
don't
our
see no
internet
delay.
was delayed earlier because I just am noticing the my mouth between Instagram and YouTube. It's fine. Hopefully everything should be good sounding on our end.
Yeah, most definitely. So let's get started.
Yes, since we are running a little late. And there we go. Is it good? Yeah. Well, I think so. All right. Well, I'm ready to you. I'm gonna pull up this letter. Hold on.
So the topic for the night: is it normal to be scared to get married?
This came from, hold on, ask this question. What is going on? This question just does not want to pull up. Trying to pull up our question usually that we show on Instagram
It's up.
and YouTube. It is up. It
Yeah.
did come up. Why is it showing black on it? That's weird. Whatever. I'll just pull it up. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm wondering if it's like, because our internet was acting a little weird earlier. So if it's a delay and y'all have issues, let us know. Let us know so we can see if we can
It's up.
tweak this out. But yeah, but you see it's black on ours. That's so weird. But whatever. Y'all can see it on y'all ends. That's all that matters. And of course, Instagram will keep you up to date as we go along on our question back and forth because this question is really probably going to be answered throughout the night. It's just one of those things. But the subject is, why am I more scared than excited to get married? I got engaged 3 months ago to my boyfriend of 6 years. We have been living together for 2 years, but due to work, I only see him 3 to 4 times a week now. My fiance is an incredible person, my best friend, and we have a happy, comfortable relationship. If he had not proposed, I would have continued the relationship without any hesitations. However, I keep thinking there is something very wrong with me because I am not excited about being married. The past 3 months, I have experienced intense anxiety and been basically paralyzed with the decision to actually marry him or not. I feel so lost because everywhere on the internet is basically like, if it's not an enthusiastic yes, it's a no, which just intensifies how horrible I feel. It makes me wonder if I am with the wrong person because I don't feel this like overwhelming excitement that others describe. I start thinking maybe if I dated someone else, I would have this magical feeling where I'm super positive I want to be married. And by marrying my current fiance, I am like robbing myself of some joy. Why would I be scared of getting married when my fiance is who I can really see my life with? You want me to go first? You go first?
No, yeah, you go first.
Why are you thinking? I'm more interested now because you want me to go first. I'm interested. You got to say.
I want to be unfiltered for this one. Go ahead. This is ridiculous.
It to me, what first pops in my mind is kind of the fantasy of the thrill of what you think, like that Disney, oh, we fall in love and oh, I'm head over heels and ah la la. And so I get that, and that's kind of the feels I'm getting for this. And in general, though, for this topic of how we're going to go into it, marriage is a big commitment, right? So it is totally normal to have like some feelings of doubt or fears or something along the lines of, just a little worry, maybe a little anxiety, but it certainly shouldn't be where you're sitting here wondering whether or not, you know, you're meant to be with someone else because you're having these thoughts, like, and if they come. And I often, when I think about a lot of thoughts in general, they're only yours if you stay claim to them. So that's kind of where we're going to head on to some of the reasons why people have fears and doubts in general, because a lot of that stuff can also be like projected from things you've heard, other people's experiences, just all of that gives you this false and kind of like this false idea of what this whole experience of marriage is supposed to feel like, per se. And in particular, when I think of this woman, how she's saying, they've been together 6 years, living together 2 years. At some point, you have to realize when you're in a long-term relationship with your spouse, that honeymoon phase is certainly going to be gone if you've been together for so long. And then marriage by default is just going to feel like the next logical step. It's not so much going to be that exciting thrill, like, oh, like this is brand new, because it's not. And hopefully it's not supposed to feel that way. You want to be comfortable with this person to where you're like, okay, this is just the next logical thing we're supposed to do, especially if y'all are living together, sharing finances, all of that. What do you think? That's the gist of mine before we get into why other people are scared.
You put it in a nice way. You package it with a smile and a kiss. But this woman is, the thoughts that she's having is that's a sabotaging moment. She's sabotaging the blissfulness of this.
Yeah.
And it's really her who's not, she's wanting to have different feelings about what marriage is or what it looks like. And that's the delusion that she's in and what she thinks that marriage is supposed to look like. This is marriage. Marriage every day is work. At times you have your ups and downs and excitements and things like that. But like my wife said, she missed the 2 years mark from, nothing to 2 years in which you are in that honeymoon phase. This is the perfect time to actually, get married after those 2 years because you're not jaded by your own biases and emotions, hormones, and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, it's not going to feel like this. That you've been together for so long, 6 years. You all have been together for 6 years. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, just be happy in the present time and moment, understanding that you found someone and what you've achieved something that a lot of people have not done. And she should, I'm not trying to bash her down and make her feel bad, but why do you think that you need to be with somebody else when you're already engaged? Now, that's the part that's I don't understand. Like,
right.
She had the audacity to say up here, maybe if I had married somebody else, I would feel these butterflies, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
No, sweetheart, that's what it's supposed to feel like. You are supposed to feel like this is just the next level. Be happy in the moment that you are in. You decide your emotions and your feelings. Stop trying to reach for something that's the fairy tale. Stop trying to live a fairy tale. This, the white horse and the drawn carriage and all this other stuff of what you feel what marriage is supposed to be like. It is normal for you to be scared of marriage, but I don't think that thought is normal of you thinking that you should be with somebody else just to feel what marriage, a wedding is supposed to feel like. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's the red flag. I mean, if I was her boyfriend, I would have a stern talk with her and get some counseling first before we actually had the wedding. Because if you're thinking about, she's already thinking about stepping out of a relationship per se, and that's a bit extreme just to feel like you're about to get married.
Right. And that's a good point because she said specifically, I started thinking maybe if I dated someone else, I would have this magical feeling. You're chasing the thrill of that honeymoon phase, like the thrill of the new at the new love
Right.
that y'all been together for so long, right?
But that's not a reason to abort the relationship.
Right, certainly.
Stop that.
Yeah, that's
A
self-sabotage.
lot of women,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people do that. Not just women, but guys too. They abort the relationship after some odd times because the thrill of the chase is gone.
Right.
Those are not good intentions. That means you were not intended on getting married. You were just intended on feeling the high of the honeymoon phase, the high of somebody running and chasing you.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. Beyond, that goes beyond anything that I could ever think of.
Yeah, but honestly, this isn't kind of the first time I've kind of heard this, and that's why. Yeah, oddly enough, and that's why I want to dig into this whole other people projecting thoughts and feelings of either their experiences or what they think should happen experience-wise. Like, even though it didn't turn out, they've never experienced marriage before ever. This is what I'm talking about, like single women in particular. But on the other scale, like married people projecting, their unhappiness onto other, newly soon to be married couples, and then that can kind of cloud your judgment. We're definitely going to dig more into overall the whole reasons why people can have some fear towards being married. That's common. Fear is a normal emotion. We've talked about fear when it comes to a lot of different aspects of this, and I'm pretty sure we're going to keep doing that because it's a very common thing for people to overcome. So I get that. But the whole idea is a lot of this is self-inflicted, right? Because you just said in the beginning that, my fiance is an incredible person, my best friend. We have a happy, comfortable relationship. And it's like you're looking for that, you're looking for something. Like, it's not supposed to be like this.
Right. She's just looking for that emotional response of the butterflies all over again, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And and I'm pretty sure if he read this letter, he would be totally turned off by this.
Yeah.
And he probably still would want to marry you, but he'll probably have some doubts.
Yeah. And I mean, that could be totally understandable. I mean, I'm sure you're feeling.
And stop looking at the internet.
Yeah. Yes.
Stop looking at the internet about your marriage, which hasn't happened yet, your wedding, which hasn't happened.
If it's not an enthusiastic yes, this sounds like an enthusiastic yes to me. When a woman writes and says, "My fiance is an incredible person, my best friend, we have a happy and comfortable relationship," that sounds like an enthusiastic yes. She ended it in who I can really see my life with. Is that not an enthusiastic yes? Well, but it's just like. She's like not allowing herself to be there, that happiness, the bliss.
The thing is that other women who are having that enthusiastic yes were probably thinking that they were not going to get married or that man was not going to propose to them.
Right. It wasn't random. It was random.
This man gave her the security for 6 years of a regular relationship, and she's not satisfied with that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. She needs to, like I said, she needs to be happy in the present moment.
Yeah.
Stop trying to live your dream, someone else's dreams.
Right.
Of what you think this marriage and this wedding is supposed to look like. Stop that. That's not right. And I'm gonna just chalk this up to her being nervous about her wedding.
Yeah.
And
other
say that.
Fear. Yeah.
And that's where it's coming from, and that's where it's stemming from. Nervousness about her wedding day.
Right.
But all of this stuff that she's talking about and thinking that she needs, maybe this isn't the person I need to marry, and I'll feel but she's reaching for feelings and emotions. She'll get this on her wedding day, hopefully.
Yeah, especially if you have a wedding planned or something like that. But I also kind of think here, she says we have been living together for 2 years, but due to work, I only see him 3 to 4 times a week now. That part kind of stands out to me because it's like, okay, she's saying maybe this changed. Because we talk about this often, how life is change, especially when it comes to relationships. Different things are going to happen, and something like a job. Right, but something like a job is pushing her into something that's new, like a new experience in the relationship. And so it can be, maybe the feelings of that, of not seeing him as often as she may used to, and then couple that with, okay, but we're going to get married, but that may not be ideally how she wants this marriage to, be. Even though it's just temporary, it's kind of just causing some added anxiety or stress to the whole situation. Versus like if they were still living however they were prior to him, her only seeing him 3 or 4 times a week.
That has nothing to do.
You don't think?
Nope, not at all. It's just the fact that she's reaching for butterflies. She's nervous. and she's thinking that, oh, she should be overjoyed and overly excited.
Could be, yeah.
Now she would probably feel that way if they were within or approaching 2 years and he had proposed to her and they were going to get married then. She would probably feel those butterflies because
Right,
of
the
that honeymoon
timeline.
thing.
Yeah, the timeline's
But
different.
all those honeymoon hormones
Are
are
done.
basically done. And this is what a regular relationship is supposed to feel like, especially if you get married at this point. So I think we beat that up enough. My advice to her is that stop looking on the internet and searching and looking and reaching for these emotions. Just live in the present moment and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Stop that, because ultimately what she's doing and possibly could do is doom her current relationship.
Yeah.
That's it.
Or at least cause herself some more strife with it, because it's
Or
really a lot.
stress.
Yeah, a lot of this is kind of self-inflicted.
Yes,
So.
it is a self-inflicted and it's undue stress.
Yeah. And actually, later, we aren't going to leave you hanging. Later on, towards the end, we're going to certainly give you some tips on keeping your whole spark alive, getting that spark back that you're looking for actually in your own relationship, though. It's not something you have to just up and go to another relationship for. So we will certainly get into that a little later. But first, I think it's maybe a good idea to kind of go over some of the most common reasons to why actually people would have some type of fear towards,
All right, let's get into it. So first, number one is the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
So marriage is a major life change, and it's normal to be scared of the unknown.
Yeah.
So you may be worried about things like losing independence, changing your lifestyle, or not being able to handle challenges of married life.
Right.
And that's natural. It just is. So
yeah.
You
just gotta kind of
adjust.
take that.
You have to
Do
so
it.
if you intended on being married, be committed to that choice. Just do it, like Nike. Just do it.
Yeah, that's really the only way, because the only way to conquer that is to do the unknown. You got to go through the door. You got to you just got to have that courage. It's going to be different. Anything that's going to make you grow and be better at life, which a good, healthy relationship should help you to do, it's going to require change. It's going to require, adjustments. It's just how it's going to be. You just have to come into a confidence within yourself of, I feel good about this choice that I'm making. Mm-hmm. So because of this, I'm allowing myself to relax and kind of let myself go through the experience versus, just hold on to that fear and never walk through the door. That's unfortunate because you miss out on the whole experience.
Right. All right. And next, an environment where people are constantly sharing their own fears and insecurities with you. This can taint your mind in a number of ways. So first, it can make you more likely to focus on the negative aspect of marriage.
Yeah.
If someone is constantly telling you about how their spouse is controlling or how they are unhappy in their marriage, it can start to make you feel that all marriages are like that. This can be difficult to see the positive aspects of marriage and make you more hesitant to get married yourself. So stop listening to the negativity.
Yeah.
Focus on the positive. Focus on your relationship. Stop taking in other people's relationships and their negative advice as far as relationships go.
Yeah. What is the old saying? The thief of joy is comparison. Stop. Even that goes with bad stuff too. Although I think, maybe some people may mean well by trying to tell their, experiences, but you really got to be mindful of what you take in on a daily basis. If you continuously are just listening to that negative talk, you're going to start to kind of expect the worst in your own marriage by naturally just that thought pattern. Right. Of listening to something like that constantly. Even things like hearing how difficult marriage is, or, it's just, that narrative within itself makes it less appealing, for one, but also two, it makes you feel like this is something that cannot be what's the word I'm looking for? Not accomplished, but
obtained.
Yes, obtained in a healthier manner, like it can in an easier way, because it doesn't have to be difficult. It's really not, especially when you're with someone that you're first compatible with, like we always talk about, doing those morals, those values, the disciplines. You've come to trust this person. You really know this person. You spent enough time with this person. That should give you that confidence that you're like, okay, I know that I'm going through this life with this person, and that is going to give you that comfort and security that y'all will be able to handle whatever life throws at you. But if you constantly listen to somebody who didn't do that due diligence, who didn't take the time to vet their spouse, who got into a marriage with a toxic person, but then want to victim, claim like they played no part in that at all, then that gives you that perception that, oh, just marriage in general is difficult and it's hard, when that is not the case.
Right.
It's not.
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah, don't start your don't, set yourself up for failure in particular, because that's really kind of what you're doing when you're constantly believing what somebody else's spouse did to their, your friend. In a way, you're just like not going to be able to trust your own spouse, because you can be looking at them like, well, Becky Sue Man did such and such, and then that gets you looking at your own spouse side eye. It taints your own confidence in your relationship and everything. People can't downplay how much that really does affect your mind. Right. And you just really got to be mindful of that for sure.
That's only for the weak.
Yeah.
No, weak-minded people
that
take in negativity and let people draw them down like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, misery loves company. So there's always people out there who's miserable, who want you in the same space that they are in.
Yeah.
And they'll try to define your relationship that way as well.
Yeah. Project, just all projection, even maybe the good stuff too, because the lady she pointed out the fact that it's supposed, if it's not an enthusiastic yes, then it's a no. That's projection of somebody else too, because maybe they were dating somebody that they didn't even really want to be with for real, knowing they shouldn't have been dating them anyway, and then so it's not an enthusiastic yes. They're gonna project onto you that, oh, your yes needs to be enthusiastic, because if not, girl, that ain't the one. No, that you're having an enthusiastic yes when you know this person that you're going in this relationship with, you're excited about it in your own way, what that feels like. You're comfortable. This woman said she was comfortable. That's what you're looking for. That should get you excited, not how somebody else feels, within their own relationship. Everybody's relationship is different. So yeah.
Also too, it can make you more likely to avoid commitment, of course. So if you are constantly hearing about how marriages end in divorce, it can start you to feel like there's no point of getting married anyway.
And that's what's going on now.
Right.
That's the part that annoys me a lot, especially, I don't mean to get on the red pill community, because I understand men have gone, that was a platform for men to, speak about men's stuff.
Because men have been dragged and taken advantage of and all that other stuff.
Right, I totally get that.
Vice versa, and then also too with women as well. So
right.
It goes both ways.
Yeah, I totally get that. But the problem with so much focus on that, and that narrative just controlling so much of the community of what marriage actually looks like, it doesn't give the balanced perspective of the positive aspects, the people that are having those good marriages, that it is working out. Because the people that are listening to all these people say, oh, it's so bad, how many marriages end in divorce, all y'all just go out with all these statistics, completely discounting all the marriages that are happy, all the marriages that, all the millions and billions of people that are actually, happy with their spouse, state married or not, like you can have a harmonious relationship, man and woman. So it's like, come on now, like that's going to just make it difficult for you to want to get married. And that's clearly what we're seeing in this, society. But y'all just really got to let that go and not focus so much on other people's experiences and work on creating the best experience for yourself in particular. That's the only way you'll have it. And we got some chats. Yo. Peace, brother. Young Kobe. That's nice. Let me check on Instagram too. Welcome. Yeah, Full House. Good. We've been rambling. We've been trying to make sure we're looking at our comments and talking back and forth, because it's important. We want to hear from y'all too.
Yep.
Especially if y'all agree or have some maybe opposing viewpoints, whatever. This is a live show, so the dialogue is certainly welcome.
Yep, and then also too for the Instagram viewers, we have a lot more Instagram viewers always than our YouTube viewers, and there's nothing wrong with that. We really appreciate you all. But if you all could, please like and share and subscribe to our videos on YouTube, and then also to join the YouTube channel as well. So we really appreciate you all. Thank you. Thank you for your support. We always do this show for you all, the community. Like my wife said, this is a live call-in show, and then also to a live, show all together. If you have comments, questions, concerns, please let us know.
Yeah.
So let's continue with the show. So next is fear of failure. So no marriage is perfect, and there's always the risk of divorce. So this can be a scary thought, especially if you have seen other marriages fail.
Yeah.
Don't get wrapped in that fear, though. That's the thing. You need to, if you have any fears getting into marriage, get counseling first. Talk about these fears with your spouse. And then also, too, especially now, these times, we always talk about prenuptial agreements. So it's also, if you're that fearful and then you don't trust anyone and you want to get married, then by all means, please cover yourself with a contractual agreement, which is called a prenuptial agreement before you get married, to make sure that you all can negotiate the terms of the relationship and understand what the penalties and consequences are if you violate your vows.
Yeah. Boundaries.
Boundaries.
On a piece of paper, certainly, but it makes it more,
Transparent.
Yeah,
It
it
makes
gives
it very
you that.
transparent.
Yep.
You want to know what you're getting into before you actually sign up for it. So
Yeah.
there have you. That should eliminate the fears.
Certainly those fears of like the whole failure thing, of course, but that's why because we recommend relationships and we encourage you all to get married, especially when you find the right spouse. That's why we do a lot of the talk on how to make sure you're vetting your spouse. We have plenty of shows. We're going to keep doing plenty of shows and been talking about how do you know this is the right one, what to do, what questions to ask. Those are all things that are going to help alleviate a lot of those fears. So certainly take the time to equip yourself if you're scared you're going to fail.
Right. Another one is fear of commitment. Some people are simply afraid of making a long life commitment. They may be worried about being trapped in a relationship and they may not be happy in.
Yes.
So also too, another fear, I was fearful of commitment as a young man because one, I didn't know what it takes to actually be a provider in a relationship. Didn't know that the man, I wanted to be that man, to be the provider and the protector in the relationship. Didn't know what that looked like. So naturally that came with the support of my wife. So a good wife will allow a man to be a provider and a protector in the relationship, and a good husband will allow his wife to fulfill her role as being a good wife.
Yeah, well,
someone
yeah,
who's
that's
supportive,
helpmate.
someone who right, your helpmate.
Yeah, because it wasn't you were doing all of that on your own, and that was what I fully acknowledged within you. But to help add and give you a little boost of confidence if you need to, of course, I'm here for that because I am your biggest fan. So that's what a woman is supposed to do, and there should be no judgment in that, and wanting to help your spouse be better. Ultimately, men and women are supposed to help each other, want to do that. That's what a whole relationship does. It gives you that place of, in a way, mirroring the things that you want to do, how you want to be, and giving you the opportunity to create that environment so you guys can do that. The safe space of, if I do mess up or if I'm not there all the way, I know you're committed. I know you're going to be with me, and that's a good thing. That commitment in marriage and having someone in general by your side really just gives you a boost of confidence to go through life. You'll have someone, the right spouse. You really will have someone who will be there through it all, and that will give you that added confidence of, hey, I'm good. I got somebody that knows my back. It really does. This is the best way that I can put it, the main way that I can put it. But that's why I really think the only way that you can get to this wonderful place of love is if you are able to let go of fear, because these are two totally different frequencies. We're talking science here. They're just not the same. You cannot resonate on love and have that happy, loving relationship and have some fear dwelling around. It can't exist. You're going to either self-sabotage or, just most of the time when it's a fear, it's self-sabotaging.
Right.
Most of the time.
And it's paralyzing. So
Yeah.
fear is paralyzing. It will prevent you from actually moving forward with your relationship and hold you back.
Yeah, or even getting married, like what we were
Like,
talking
it will
about,
hold you
or
back.
doing anything.
Right.
Yeah, seeking a spouse, and then ultimately you feel you're lonely, and then you're sad, and you're wanting to go out here and get that spouse and have that relationship, but it's just like until you can get over that fear, you just won't do the things you got to do. And that's okay. And I think of like a lot of women too, if you've been hurt before, maybe you did support a guy before and he didn't, hold you down the way he should have. Like that happens. We all have those experiences where, you like fall off the bike. But it's important that you just remember that it's okay. It's a lesson learned, and to try it again. You don't give up just because it doesn't work out. You
Right.
don't generalize all men or all women just
Right.
because it doesn't work out.
Right. Don't bring those bags of trauma into your new relationship.
Yeah.
Make yourself anew. Get your therapy. Talk to somebody. Work out your problems and kinks, and then, like my wife said, get back on that bike and try again.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if it work out, it will work out. You can keep your confidence. That's really how you get it to work out, because you got to repair your mind.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the next one is fear of losing yourself. So some people are worried that they will lose themselves in marriage. They may be afraid of giving up their own interests and hobbies, or of being dominated by their spouse.
Or taking advantage of. I think that's another way to say that.
Right.
Like
but if that must be a very short boyfriend and girlfriend situation in order for you to get married. You must have just jumped into it, because that part I'm not buying as far as losing yourself. But people do that though.
Right.
If you still have those fears and you've been dating for what a year or two, and seek counseling, talk about these things, talk about your fears with your spouse, and make sure that you both are on the same page as far as the relationship goes.
Or maybe even just your interests. What are your interests? What are your hobbies? What are the things that you want to keep going? Who do you tell your spouse what are your goals? What are your ambitions? Talk about those things that you talk about your marriage vision. Talk about what you wanted to look like. Talk about like
roles.
Yeah, talk about how you envision it. Right.
Talk about having children. You staying home with the
Yes.
children, or y'all going to do daycare, or are you both working? If you want to be a stay-at-home mother, work on those things.
Or like hobbies. Like what hobbies do you definitely got to do? Which ones do you need to have? Do you need a little quiet time sometimes? Like, do you need to be in your own space sometimes? Like, say these things, verbalize
Going out on
these
the weekends.
things.
Talk about if
Is
it okay for y'all to go out with your homeboys or homegirls on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's up to you all. I can't.
Yeah, those are all relationship things that you can work out. Right. Within whatever works for your relationship. But the most important thing is you have to talk about it. If it's something that's very important for you, talk about it. And then, if like kind of, I think what you were kind of hinting at, talking about it, if your spouse does have some reservations about whatever it is that you're really wanting to do, come to that compromise, come to figuring out. That's marriage. That's what it's going to take. Yes, you're not always going to get your way. They're not. It's just, it's life. You're merging two realities into one and making them a whole new one.
Right. You're learning how to coexist with a lifelong partner.
Yeah. It's going to require that compromise, and you got to be okay with that. So, you're going to get comfortable having the idea that, hey, I may have to give up something here, but I'll gain something here. We'll work for that. That's how you're gonna get that, and be mindful of that. That's your goal. Don't let these things just deter you and run you off and be like, oh, it ain't for me. Like, no. Maybe if you don't want to pull up to the table and actually plan and work with somebody, then yeah, marriage ain't for you. But if you're open to doing that, then you can really get over a lot of those fears. So we can talk about some of that, those little ways. You want to talk? It's not really, we kind of hit on it for the most part, but before we hit into the final, letting this lady know how she can put that spark back into her long-term relationship, we can go over some quick tips on how people can overcome a fear of marriage.
Yep. And be selective about the people you talk to about marriage. So if someone is constantly complaining about their spouse, those are the people you don't want to talk to. So instead, focus on spending time with people who are happily married and who can share their positive experience with you.
Yes. Yeah. For sure. Go to that.
You tell those people who got problems with their relationships to go get counseling, go get help with their relationship, to communicate with their spouse properly, and then leave them there. Yeah. But there's always people who always want to drag you into their misery and their stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff ain't for you.
Right.
So,
Don't claim that. I love to think of it like, your mind is the sky and thoughts are like clouds. So you got to be mindful of not like identifying,
that's cute.
with just, yeah, that's kind of how I think about it. When you think about your brain, like I always said, that was something I taught years ago, like the meditation classes. So anyways, but that's just like the concept of really how I think of when it comes to thoughts, of whether you're getting these thoughts from other people or they're thoughts that, linger from childhood or thoughts within your mind. You are the sky, you are not the clouds. Really be selective about the thoughts that you choose to inhabit your brain. It's really going to make a world of a difference of the outcomes that you have for your own life. If you want to have the experience of a happily married couple, you're already on the right track because you're here in alignment with us and you're talking with us. So kudos, you're already there, but even more, actively seek out more couples this way. Don't actively go and indulge in the negative experiences. So I know that can give you the dopamine, it can give you the excitement, the interest, like, oh my goodness, give you that thrill. But unless you really want to create an experience like that for yourself, don't indulge too much in that because got to be careful with that.
And the next, do your own research about marriage. Do your own research, and read books and articles about successful marriages and talk to people who have been happily married for many years.
Yeah.
So this will help you to get more of a balanced view of marriage and to see that it is possible to have a happy and fulfilling marriage.
Yeah. Learn as much as you can. That cannot be understated because communication. Take the time to become a better communicator. How do you present yourself when you're talking all around work, grocery store, school? I don't know. Take those opportunities to practice being a better communicator. That means listening and being able to verbalize yourself in a clear, respectful way. All of that is just going to help you give more, confidence to yourself as a communicator. And then also things like, how you, just how you, I don't know, when you think about how you conflict resolve. If you get angry, how do you express your emotions? Work on that. If you got some anger issues or you got some, shutting down issues with some traumas or something like that, then hey, that is something that you got to work on, and you have to be actively, deliberately trying to learn these better, healthy habits. That's got to be deliberate, especially when you've kind of been programmed in a way that's not healthy. It happens. We always talk about this. Our society has a lot of trauma deeply rooted within it. So it's normal if you didn't have that example of what a healthy relationship looks like. But that just also means that now you're an adult, you got to take the time to actively seek out, what does it take to have that happy, good marriage? Yeah.
And then next, talk to your spouse. Communicate your fears and concerns, like we said before. They can offer you support and help you to work through your anxieties.
I think that's something we didn't mention to this. Did we? No, I think we did mention it to that lady that wrote in particular. You got to have that conversation with your spouse. I don't even know if I mentioned that, but I would have that conversation with him. Let him know, hey, I'm missing, I'm not feeling the spark like we used to. Here's some things that, which we'll get into, that would probably help with this conversation. Just giving him some ideas of, hey, here's some ways that we can, spark up our love life. Like
it really wasn't a spark though. What she was chasing was the fairy tale feeling of the whole,
the endorphins, the love, the dopamine, the all of those chemicals.
She was looking for a fairy tale wedding and the whole joy, yes I do.
Well,
and it really wasn't the spark of the relationship or what have you. She went so far to thinking that she needed to go out of the relationship and date somebody else.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying it is the because they fell into the routine of being together for 6 years. He probably, well, I don't know how long. He said she only sees him 3 to 4 times a week. That it's not so much, I don't think, the wedding, but maybe so that with the aspect of not actually having those lovey-dovey feelings like they once did when it was 2 years in or 1 year in. You know what I mean? Where you have those dopamine. So you have to actively get that back. How we get into, if you really want to go ahead and get into that now, we could, but those things that actually spark up that relationship back to where it feels like something new again. It can bring back those butterflies.
No, I understand that, but I don't think that was her situation. Her situation was that she wanted that fairy tale feeling in her before marriage, before her wedding.
But it's
And
too late. It's been too long.
that's
Y'all
what
been
I'm
together
saying.
for too
They've
long.
been together for too long, and then she has to understand that that is okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. She thinks that's wrong.
No, that's just something you got to get back.
Right.
Something got to spark back up again. Like, feel back in.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's hard to chase that because it's the whole thrill of the chase thing that she's trying to get.
Yeah, you're trying to get the exact feeling back.
Whenever she states that she feels as if she needs to date outside of her engagement, that is what she was trying to chase feel was that thrill of the chase.
Yeah.
Trying to tackle down somebody, the flirting, the heavy flirting, and making phone calls, being up all late at night talking on the phone with this person and going on dates and all of that. I get that, but
you gotta reach for it though, somewhat. Like you're not gonna get it. I get what you're saying. You're not gonna get it exactly
she's
right.
She's gonna have to, but it's not gonna feel the same because it's still with the same person.
Yeah.
And that's okay, but she don't think that's okay.
It's okay.
Right. She doesn't think that that's okay. What's not okay is her wanting to step out of her relationship just for those feelings of the thrill of the chase in her marriage. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's okay. That's something that you kind of.
She needs to grow up.
Yeah.
That's
and talk about it though. I think that is something that would be important for you not to.
I think she needs
withhold from him. Like if you're feeling this way.
Okay, but the thing is this: I'm gonna say that he loves her and he's willing to work on that with her. But for some guys, that might be a deal breaker for you to. I have feelings that I even thought that I need to step out on the relationship.
Oh no, don't say that.
But I'm just saying, if you're going to be transparent about something,
that's too be
transparent about all
that's too transparent. I think.
Then she needs to go to therapy by herself.
Yeah, but also communicate those fears of missing the fear of. Is it not always going to feel this way? Is it not? Why doesn't feel this way? Maybe you mentioned that.
She needs therapy, and then the conversation she needs to have with her boyfriend is about what we're talking about next, about ways that they can build those butterflies up. But all that stuff that she got going on in her head, and then thinking that she needs to go and date somebody else, she needs to talk to that about a therapist. Because if she was to propose that to her fiance, that's a deal breaker. That's over.
Yeah.
I'm kind of taken aback by that the fact that she feels as if she needs to do that. That's a bit extreme. Just to feel butterflies before her wedding. But that's outrageous.
It is. It's it is. And that's the part that I wouldn't tell him too much about that. Well, I think she was expressing it, but that part I would not feel so inclined. I don't think he needs to know all of that. I think that's a little bit too much information. Kind of like.
Do you think so? Because
you can tell him where the root of I would more so not say the after effect of the root cause of why she's thinking that way. She needs to just tell him the root cause. First is address the root cause of your fear. So what is the reasoning that you're feeling this way? And if it just so happens to be missing that spark, missing that excitement, wada. If that is
then they can work on that.
Then that's what you need to express.
Yeah, but that's extreme.
I wouldn't go and express it. That's kind of like if your spouse is going through depression. I'm not taking this in a slight angle to justify why I don't feel sometimes you have to indulge too much in, especially if you're going down a rabbit hole of negative thought. If you're actively trying to pick yourself out of that, it can backfire if you disclose, I guess, a little bit too much. But if, for example, a spouse is going through like depression or something like that, if that is the case, you can tell your spouse, I'm going through depression. I was sad about work or whatever the case may be. Like, but you don't have to like go into your own deep thoughts of whatever you were going through. That I agree with you should be done with the therapist. Right. A lot of times that you don't want to put too much on your spouse to where it could damage your relationship because it's just too much. So I agree with you there, where stuff like that needs to be talked about in therapy.
Right, and I kind of I don't because of that's an immature thing, to be honest with you. That's the way I look at it. That's very immature for her to say things like that and to make her mouth like that. The fact that she's been in this relationship with this man for 6 years and then want to go get married and to fix her mouth and say that, well, I don't feel the butterflies before the wedding, so maybe I shouldn't. I'm with the wrong person, and he does everything right, and I should just go date somebody else. Like that's no, that's. I feel for that man because he don't know what he's getting himself into by marrying this woman.
Yeah, unless she works through that.
Right.
Yeah, it's important to work
She
through
needs
that.
some counseling first before she actually go get married.
Yeah. So
Because
that
maybe
they
it's not her.
communicate,
Maybe she's the wrong person for him in this situation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because she might just clock out in the
right.
marriage and this relationship, and I hope he has a prenuptial agreement. She may want to just get a divorce and be like, look, I'm depressed in this relationship because it's not butterflies and fireworks.
The I get bored story we have heard too many times.
Right.
Of, oh, marriage is boring.
Right.
Like, I got bored, so
yeah.
So, or not even.
And then she
want
to grow old and then regret this because men are going to ask her, well, would you ever marry before? And she was like, yeah, but I got bored and I didn't want to get married. And no man is going to want to marry a woman like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What are you going to tell the next guy? The same thing. I got bored and I got a divorce. That's ridiculous. Stop that.
Yeah, because it's got to be deeper than that, and you got to have that commitment for sure. Like the
intention. The intention got to be there. The hell with being bored. The hell with the butterflies. You wanted to be committed to somebody because you wanted to be of service to somebody outside of yourself, and vice versa.
Spend your life with somebody and connect with them.
Right.
In particular, that's what she said too. She can see herself spending her life. So in particular, that would, before you have this conversation, we have come to the agreement. I guess the therapy would be very useful, in particular to a married, somebody that's married, preferably, so that then they're able to give you a more objective.
Right, and I've never heard of anything like that before. Yeah. I've heard men say that, I'm scared of commitment in marriage because I'm giving up all these women I used to sleep with, and I don't know what access to to sex is going to be like in my new marriage and all this stuff, and I'm giving up all this, I'm not going to be a player no more. No, I've heard stuff like that, but for her to say that,
I've heard it from women, but like you said, it's rooted in the missing of those, the hormones, the dopamine, the brain.
Right, it's just you gotta be mature. Marriage is a very mature decision.
It is,
and that you have to be serious about and want to be, like my wife said, committed to.
Yeah.
It's not a game. It's not a game of marriage. No.
Yeah. But I'm kind of just to end this real quick with the communication part. Be sure though to talk to a therapist about how you or we're available for a consultation too. But I really think with something like this, you dig deep on how you can change those thought forms, because you don't want to think so much on, well, what if I do this, or go down that rabbit hole of things you probably shouldn't be doing and shouldn't be thinking about, because that just kind of opens up Pandora's box, or you be thinking about it a little bit more and a little bit more, and you might get a little tempted. So certainly try to get those beliefs under control.
Well,
those pattern thoughts.
It's almost like paranoia. She's nervous. Like I said, she's nervous and she got anxiety and got paranoia dealing with that. You need to talk yourself through that. You need some therapy.
Yeah.
To help sort that all out.
Coping mechanisms, strategies for that. I mean, that's all certainly worth it, because this isn't something that you want to just lay on your spouse. Like my husband said, you would certainly scare him off. Like,
after 6 years. That's devastating. If you was to tell me something like that before we got married, I would feel like, I'll feel devastated.
Well, it would awaken your own, like the man's own fears of the relationship.
It would question your motives.
Yeah. Your commitment.
Oh, and also too what you're currently doing.
Yeah.
I would, as far as getting married, that would be a big, a big question mark.
Yeah. Dealing
with somebody like that who's coming out like that. But anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Either way, after you do that, talk to your spouse, right? Be sure to talk to your spouse though about your hopes, your dreams, your fears, with some things, your concerns. Y'all got to have that open and honest relationship. And then that should actually, hopefully, help be able to ignite that, feeling of companionship, that closeness, that newness, especially if you're talking about things you've never talked about before to anyone else. That can really open up a new experience to where it'd be like, wow, I'm connected to you now on a deeper level because I've never told anyone this before. that should be a aha moment always throughout your relationship, because when you're in a relationship, every day is new. So every day you should look forward to having something new to share with your spouse and tell them about, because that really just keeps that, spark up and going. So be sure to communicate and talk to each other.
And of course, spend time together. So both alone and with friends and family. So make time for each other even when you're busy.
Yeah.
Go on dates, take walks together, hike, something. Just
Yeah.
cuddle up and get on the couch, watch the TV, movie.
Yeah, especially because y'all said she only see each other 3 or 4 times a week because of work. That's even more important than all married couples' relationships like
Right,
that.
but that's the thing too. If they don't see each other 3 days out of the week, shouldn't she like miss him?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like the butterflies and all that stuff should be there. Like that part I don't understand. I don't understand. But anyways, all right. But on to the building intimacy.
True.
So also do things that you enjoy together. So find activities that you both enjoy and make time for them.
Yeah.
This could be anything from hiking or cooking to playing card games, video games all together. Taking baths.
Yeah. New experiences.
Massages,
yeah. Do those new experiences. I've done those. It's one trendy, cute thing for couples to do, like the ABC dating thing, where you go down the list of trying to find something based off of the alphabet. That's so cool because it's new experiences. That's little ways to keep that spark, get that spark back. It'll feel like a new relationship because it's kind of what I think she's reaching for. You miss that newness, that new feeling, to go for some new experiences with the same person. That's kind of how marriage is. So. Right. Yeah.
So give each other compliments and show appreciation. So let your spouse know that you love them, appreciate them, that you adore them, you admire them. So tell them how they make you feel and why you are lucky to have them in your life.
Yeah, focus on that.
Focus on them.
Yeah, focus on that. The good parts, what you love about them, like not the don't focus on some feeling that you're not having. That's a good feeling. You're not having it. You need to be, if you're feeling good, if you love your spouse and they make you feel good, talk about that.
The facts.
Yeah. Experience that. Keep going for that. That's more important. Don't look for stuff that you think should be there, but it's not there. Don't do it.
And then be supportive to each other's goals and dreams.
Yeah.
So encourage each other to follow your dreams, to achieve your goals. Be there to celebrate the successes and to offer support during difficult times.
Yeah, that's going to keep your relationship feeling new and exciting, especially when your spouse does those great things and you're right there to experience it with them. Celebrate that, encourage them for that.
Yeah. And be forgiving of each other's mistakes. So everyone makes mistakes. When your spouse makes a mistake, try to be understanding and forgiving. Remember, you are on the same team and that you are both working towards the same goals.
Yeah. Forgive yourself, too. I want to say that for this young lady. Forgive yourself for your thoughts that were not positive.
Something being nervous.
Yes. Forgive yourself for that. Look to turn anew. That's the whole idea of forgiveness, is to actually move forward. So forgive yourself. Turn away from that. Say, I'm not going to keep thinking negative about my spouse. I love him. I want to be with him. I'm excited about that. I'm going to focus on that. And then just start your life together. So that's important to do too within a relationship.
Yeah. And then make time for physical intimacy. Physical intimacy is an important part of any relationship. Make time for each other, both physical and emotional.
Yeah.
And then also to keep learning and growing together. As you grow older, you will continue to change and evolve, make an effort to learn and grow together.
Yes.
Both as individuals and as a couple.
Yes. That's a good thing. Never take your spouse for granted. Of course, we kind of talked about that. So it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day. When I think about this couple, I think about that. Like if y'all are been together for so long, 6 years, that day-to-day life, is going to go where you're doing the same thing all the time and cause you to forget to, show your spouse how much you love them. Think about how much you love your spouse. Experience how much you love your spouse. Appreciate all that they do for you, those big moments, those small moments, even those moments that, you forget that they do all the time. Start noticing those again. A lot of the times what we see with relationships, especially after they leave that honeymoon phase, is that then you start just focusing on the negative, and it's like your mind flips and you start nitpicking. You focus on the negative parts of your spouse because you spent so much time within the indulgence, the happy, the hormonal, endorphin side of a relationship. So it's just important to, if that does happen, and that y'all have been in the grinding, y'all been together for a long time, take the time to go back and think about, oh, I love when you used to do this, or when you do this, or I like when you do this. I love that you do this all the time. Like, oh, I appreciate this. This, when you first started doing this used to make me smile. Let me go back to smiling when you do those things. Little things like that is really going to help your relationship feel like that young, spunky, puppy lovey type relationship again. Because those were the things that you was focused on anyway, to be honest. Nothing really changed, hopefully.
Right. And then celebrate your love.
Yeah.
Celebrate your love. Make time to celebrate your love for each other, both on special occasions and on everyday ones.
Yeah.
So let your spouse know how much you love them and how lucky you are to have them in your life.
Yes. Celebrate that wedding if y'all do have a
The
wedding.
anniversary.
Yeah, your anniversary.
Birthdays.
The honey, you can go on, even if y'all don't like you. I don't know if it's because they've been together for so long. Sometimes they don't do big weddings or whatever the case may be. Just make sure though you take the time to maybe go out to eat if y'all just go to the courthouse, whatever it is. Just make sure to take the time to celebrate that. In particular with this newly married couple, that's gonna make it feel like something new. If it's not gonna be something a big extravagant celebration or something like that, celebrate with your family, go on that honeymoon trip, an actual trip somewhere else, do something like that. Make sure you celebrate all occasions. It's not every day though. Take the time to do that, like when you just like things that you randomly come home with the pizza candy I like, some candy I like, or something like that. Doing little things like that to where you're just saying like, hey,
I love and appreciate it.
yeah, and I'm gonna celebrate that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's all the jewels that we are dropping for you tonight about marriage and the fear of marriage. So for those people out there, are there any questions, any concerns?
No, thank you all for joining us on this lovely Friday. We were late, but we still in here.
Yep.
10 o'clock with y'all.
Yep.
Thank
you
y'all
all for joining us. For this Marriage Fit Friday. So it is the weekend. We all made it. Cheers. Congratulations. And until next time, Blueprint family, you all have a wonderful night. Peace.
Monday. Oh man, I done missed the. Wait, you gotta say your piece again.
Peace. All right. Good night.